even like I would get triggered by like women who are too sexy on Instagram. I'm like, I'm gonna unfollow her.
We've all experienced sexual trauma. Layla Martin says 100% of femme-bodied individuals have experienced some form of sexual trauma. They're like, ooh, I just want to be wild and free. And it's like, no, we're not talking about that. We're talking about savage, primordial, and for me, when I think of primal and when I use the term primal eros, I'm referencing the lower chakras. So inherent, and it's such a, of course.
Can I pause right there? And why? Because their mother wasn't a mother. The mother was still a maiden.
Welcome to today's episode of Universal Intimacy. I'm so thrilled to be joined by a dear sister of mine, Mayra Leen. She's a pleasure priestess. She's an embodiment guide. She's really here on the path to help awaken the sacred remembrance within other women who are really feeling the call to return back to the body as temple, as guide, and to do so as a living, breathing permission slip to others. Let's just jump in, sister. This is so sweet to have you join me here today in Austin, and it's been a while.
It has been a while. Hi,
we've seen
good
each
to
other.
see you.
Hi, I know.
A lot has happened.
Yeah, I know. I love to always create context before the listeners and the watchers because I think it's important to understand how worlds collide, and how and we met through ISTA. So I always want to honor the International School of Temple Arts and those trainings. And
that was a magical, even being there, that was interesting for me. So I feel very guided by spirit. And I don't know, I guess a lot of people say that, but really I didn't know what ISTA was like 10 days prior to me arriving in Dominican Republic to do that.
Wow.
And I just felt, I can't remember how it arrived to me. Like maybe I saw a post or somehow I was like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And I was like, well, if the flights aren't crazy, because it's in a week.
Wow.
Then I'll do it. And crazy to me is like maybe like over 500 or, something like that. And I checked and it wasn't. And I was like, I'm going.
Wow.
And even when I was packing for it, I didn't know what it was until I started seeing some things on the packing list that made me feel like, interesting.
What were the things on the packing list?
Like a massage oil and lingerie. I was like, what is this? Right. What am I enrolling in? Although of course I'm in the journey. So I'm like, all right, well, then let me pack that. And so,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So give me some context. Like, where were you at in your life at that moment? Like, what called you to ISTA? Like, what were you journeying with that made you even do the deeper inquiry to click the
to say yes
link and say yes?
I'm like, okay. Well, I'm like that, so that's not too crazy. I had been. So I'm like 2 years post-divorce, something or separation, and I think I am exploring like my sexual, like what's next or what's next actually in my spiritual journey, which spirit was very clear on. It's the sexual aspect, and I'm like, I don't think that's correct. I just didn't want to go there with my spirituality because I had like. Decades long of exploration of this and that and energy and like consciousness and all of this. And I was like, I don't know, like I didn't even know what that meant really. Right. And so before arriving to ISTA, maybe for like at least 9 months intensely, Tantra was calling me. Especially here in Austin, literally all my friends were either facilitators or just deep in it, always at events. And I was like, I'm good. I don't want to be part of that. Like that seems like just some weird, hippie stuff. I don't know. It just didn't seem like something I wanted to enroll in predominantly because I knew it was an Eastern, tradition that felt to me like religion, that felt to me like I've unsubscribed from that kind of stuff a long time ago. I'm not trying to like mess with somebody else's stuff. Like it just, there were some like things some resistance that I had, but it was so strong that by the time I finally went to my first Tantra event. I like knew like 30% of the people. And as I attended the classes and was doing the practices, I was like, oh, I'm just home. I'm not even learning. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm so mind blown. This isn't something I've never thought of. I was like, oh, like this is just a home. This is just somewhere where I can exist. This is a word I can use to talk about what I've been exploring and what I've been doing. And now there's additional words I can use that this is providing me. So I did that. And then within, I think, so my first Tantra event, even though like my whole 6 to 9 months were all tantric, actually, like the way I was exploring and living my life with my friends. Then I did a sta about like 6 weeks later. Okay. And again, not really knowing, well, first of all, it doesn't label itself as tantric, but it was just part of the exploration there.
Beautiful. Yeah. I love that share surrounding it just feeling like home, and I definitely resonate with that. I feel
what a relaxing
in my own journey as well. It wasn't this like awakening that felt like intensely jarring, although the journey in the path has been
the prerequisites. The pre-work was
just part of it. But like when you're in community and when you're in those immersive containers, and there is this feeling of like, like I can finally be the totality of who I am, because there's so many aspects of our human experience in which we have to shut down parts of ourselves and hide the truth of who we are, especially in the erotic. And so I'm curious, in your first statement surrounding that connection of spirituality and sexuality, because I think obviously for us, we understand that inherently, but for individuals listening and watching, it's hard to hold those two things simultaneously, right? So if you're here like saying, okay, I was on this spiritual journey, if you can kind of feel into like, how did the sexuality show up for you to feel like, okay, that's the next thing?
The way I want to say this, the way my spirituality works is that if I am triggered or if I am in resistance to something, that is exactly where I need to go. So that's kind of how it showed up for me. It was like, okay, I'm now in acceptance. I'm in more expansion around different ways of living, different religions, people opting for, whatever, vegan, carnivore, like however people want to live is fine. Like, and so it's like a level of like acceptance that like is expansive. Like, okay, I see love as like, I'm gonna, for those, I don't know if everyone's gonna see the video, but like, here's my love, and like everything fits in it, and then there's edges to that, and it's like there are people or things or ideas that are outside of my love, right? Which is the things that I reject, the things that I'm like a no to. And so I'm constantly in my spiritual practices, how do I include more of those things in my love, in my acceptance? And so there was aspects of, even like I would get triggered by like women who are too sexy on Instagram. I'm like, I'm gonna unfollow her, and so I could just feel like, okay, this is outside of my love. And so this is exactly where I need to go. There's something about sexiness. And of course it was because of my own, like being told I'm too sexy or I'm too revealing or I'm trying to do this and that or whatever. And it was like my own like discomfort with that, which I was like, so I knew I had to go there. So that's kind of how it showed up for me, and how it's part of my like spiritual practice, which at the end is like, how can I allow my love and acceptance to expand? It led to a lot of other things, but that was probably the beginning.
Beautiful awareness. Thank you for speaking into that, because it could sound counterintuitive for someone who feels like they're on the journey to be like, oh wait, I'm supposed to say yes to the very thing that my whole body is feeling as a no. And it's like, you're when you're active, I like to say like a trigger is really just an activation code. And when you feel something intensely, it's like, how can you lean into that with curiosity to say like, like what's here, And I know it showed up for me further along into my path when I met Layla Martin, and I was triggered by her. Like she was on the stage, we were at Fit for Service, and which is Aubrey Marcus's community, and she was on stage and presenting a tantric activation, and And I was like, what is it? And I realized like, okay, like it's because she has something that I want. Like she's embodied and on stage teaching this. And there was a part of me that was like, I want that. And what was triggering me was like seeing another woman doing something that I desired. And so that's how I knew like, okay, like I'm always like, there's something here. And then I hired her as my coach, you know, like
that's how I,
So it's like sometimes, especially amongst women, like the very women that trigger us, like that's the one that you should hire as your coach, right?
Yes. And I did that. I went.
You did too? Yeah.
I did too.
I was like, I'm like, wait, did I trigger you in ISTA? Did I ever trigger you?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Yeah.
And we can talk about that next if you want.
Let's go.
I went to Envision Fest, and there was this girl, this woman, this baddie. I mean, she's my mentor, right? But I went to this workshop, and it wasn't like a big trigger, but I was like, oh, I feel the edges of where I would never say that out loud, you know. I could feel that. And my immediate thought was definitely not like, oh, let me hire her to be my mentor. I was just kind of with the but let me follow her on social, or let me at least stay connected. But I did eventually like join her program, and now I'm on the second year. It's Priestess Francesca from New York.
Okay. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, Brooklyn, Italian, just really like raw, just really on the edge. Full service sex worker, dominatrix, out about it.
Yeah. Is she also shamanic kink? Is that her program? No,
it's not, but definitely goes there.
Yeah.
It's all ritual and beautiful, and she's a little bit like not into the Tantra stuff, which I love because I'm super into it. So I always love to get mentors that are like, you know, just will check me, you know, make sure I'm not going off the rails, or make sure I don't think I'm like this enlightened, like I got something figured out. It's just like, oh, please.
Humbling. We like mentors who like pull out that sword.
Who's like, oh God.
Like,
And now I'm bringing her to Austin to come teach workshops in a few weeks. So
beautiful. Yeah. But I triggered you?
You triggered me. But I don't know if we can talk about it because it's one of the rituals. But maybe what I'll say is, because then you'll know exactly what. You were very vocal in a ritual of pleasure. And my thought was like, is she faking that? Like, is that... Like how, like what is going on? Like that's so soon because we just started the pleasure practice. And I'm like, wow, there's so much like sound coming out of that woman. Like what is she trying to like prove that she's like in it? Like, you know, whatever. So it was just something like that. And now I'm just like, it doesn't even matter. Like I start with sound in some of my workshop. Like it doesn't matter actually whether you were in deep pleasure, not. Like let your voice move in a room. Like God, like 100%. Yes.
Oh my God.
Who cares?
Let's talk about sound because I do feel like the sound piece is
I get like chills
one of the
now.
most challenging portals for humans to open up, men and women, right? Where it's like, okay, we're using breath, sound, movement, and touch, and people are like, okay, I can breathe, and they're like, okay, I can move, but then it's like, you know, evoking them to open the throat and let any and all sounds move through the body, and they're like, and I'm like, you know, and it does trigger people, and I do it. I'll be honest, I do sometimes like intentionally like overemphasize to activate a space. I'm like very much a sacred disruptor.
Good.
And like I like to provoke. I'm a provocateur too. Like I like to provoke. If I feel like the energy's a little like stuck, stagnant, stale, I'm like, I'm just gonna like sprinkle a little like activation onto it. And often it does come through sound. I mean, it could come through our movement, right?
But I love that
emanation of the energy. But I do feel like sound is something in the female expression that is so repressed, and we know it's connected to our yoni portal, our pussies. So yeah, I'm curious how that shows up for you and the work you do with your clients.
Well, I mean, you spoke to so much of it already just in what you said. I think what I want to speak to is where I'm at now, which is I realized, and I noticed this because somebody like recorded a video of me and I was like, and I like half stuck out my tongue and then I like put it back in and I was like, I want to have my tongue out more. And I'm holding back and I can see it and I can feel it. And so I'm currently in a place where I'm like,
yeah,
where I
want
to have my tongue out more. And I think we live in a society, so like I think a little bit beyond sound, but we live in a society where like that tongue is not appropriate to be out of your mouth. You know what I mean? Like
I do. I mean, I'm looking
like,
at you with a funny look because I'm like, you're right. Why?
Why?
I'm embarrassed. My tongue has like coffee on it right now, so I'm like,
you're like, you're just gonna show me,
yeah. I'm like,
I don't know what my tongue looks like right now, but I don't care right now because I'm in a specific journey of like I want that release. There's something in my throat. So I'm currently in that where like I do feel very in tune now with my sound and I'm okay with like all that. But I'm like, what? I still feel tension in my neck. Yeah. And I'm like, what is that? And of course I'm reminded of like Kali, the goddess, right? Her tongue's always out. And I think there's something about that level of disruption, right? Like what's up? Like, just
right?
That. So
yes, I love this.
Just want to share that. I don't know where that's going to lead me. That's a very here.
Yeah.
But more tongue out.
Bringing that into the field. Yeah.
More tongue out.
More normalizing
tongue out, playing with it, just being with it.
It's interesting. I'm thinking about like pop culture and that moment. And I'm not even going to do it justice because I don't keep track with pop culture, but there was like Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And it turned into a huge thing. And even now, like with social media, like girls taking pictures, and it's like, like the tongue out. I do think we're shifting, obviously, as we know, the paradigms. And it is becoming a little bit more normalized, but it still is also hypersexualized.
It is,
and
so, and I think that's another, thank you for bringing that, because I think there's still like, you can do tongue as long as it's like cute, or it's like, I'm licking my lip, it's like, do you like it? And it's like, I think there's a level of tongue out that wants to be like more primal and more angry and more exposed and less appealing. More free and moving and
kind of bringing it into like shamanic, like spirit animal references. It happens to me a lot. I use it as like a nervous system regulation tool, and it kind of is connected to the serpent and any reptilian family, where essentially like they would put the tongue out in order to regulate the nervous system, right? It's connected with our vagus nerve, right? And so it's also extremely porous, and you're picking up on different information when your tongue is out. So it's kind of like another sensory tool of basically being like, I'm like what's here?
What's the temperature here?
Right. And we're kind of in, and also like when you put your tongue on the roof of the mouth, it's like this. Yeah, there's something there with like being connected to the primal, but also like other species that we, I don't know. I'm getting a little like extended woo-woo here of just like feeling into our serpent energy and that reptilian connection, and that if we all are one, and we're all connected on a cellular level somehow. There's aspects of the reptile-ness in us too.
I mean, I feel the primal energy is awake right now, and it's being called like, come back to instinct, come back to like your body. That's definitely like, I thought it was like my own like thing or whatever, because one of my words for the year was wild. So I was like, okay, and maybe it is, right? The part of our brain that's like, oh no, when I want a red car, I only see red cars. But I'm like, it's here.
It's
like
been alive forever. I mean, this is divine feminine, rising, Shakti Ma, Kundalini Ma energy that, I mean, we've been dancing.
But I'm having like people like creating
years.
programs of primal and events. And I'm that's like, cool, okay, like specifically feral, primal. a lot of feralness. And I'm like,
it's really alive. I mean, I've been in that field for a while. That sort of was my medicine, and that I was offering 8 years ago. And maybe it was like people weren't ready for it, because I had an offering called Savage, and I had to like beg people to join it. You know, it was like a online container. Maybe 8 people were in it, because I think there was a lot of distortion on even the word wild, right? When you just said wild, I think, and I'm a little bit older than you, but there used to be like Girls Gone Wild, those videotapes of like girls showing their boobies at Mardi Gras, and like that's the perception of the word wild. It's like, ooh, I just want to be wild and free. And it's like, no, we're not talking about that. Yeah. We're talking about savage, primal, primordial, you know? And for me, when I think of primal, and when I use the term primal eros, I'm referencing the lower chakras. I'm referencing our connection to our root and our sacral. And I think humanity is at this moment, and this is why guides such as yourself are so important with where we're going, especially for femme-bodied individuals, to not vilify or shame this energy, right? How can we reconnect with it to feel whole and feel in our aliveness, you know?
So there's like, there's a lot of work to do there, and we've done like so much there. I mean, even Savage Fenty is what came to mind when you're like, like, you know, we're infiltrating it, the whole systems in all this way, you know? So we're well along the path, and it's happening. And I think like just staying alert to like where we're still bumping up against our own, like, wanting to be domesticated.
I know. Yeah. What's coming up for me is just like, to be sitting with another woman, a goddess, a practitioner, and you know, how you're personally and professionally navigating these times in sort of this, I like to say, like the post-Epstein exposure era, you know, like Epstein files came out, and it's kind of this new moment for us, and I'm just curious how that's showing up in your field.
I'm not aware of what's going on with the Epstein files. I feel, I mean, I guess the way it has shown up in my field is those who have felt some sort of mirror, or that it feels like, ooh, I'm seeing a part of me in this that maybe I didn't see. They're feeling really uncomfortable. Yeah. Because that's where it's coming from my field. 100%. And other than that, it's like most of the people around me are just like nothing to do with me at all.
I love that.
And so I think it's providing a mirror for those who need that mirror.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really showing humanity, the shadows, which you and I dance in all the time and guide other humans through. And when we say shadow, we're referencing not a dark, aka like a wrong place, but just an aspect of the subconscious that hasn't been brought into the light to consciousness. And so to me, it is a mirror moment of like catch yourself if you're going quick into judgment or vilification, and really look in the mirror at yourself and your own shadows, and what are the parts of you that you're not fully comfortable with related to your relationship to sex, money, and power.
I think I want to share. So I was holding back from sharing like the really like because very recent. Let's see if I can do this in a way that just doesn't expose anyone. But I recently hosted an event in a new place with someone that I know, that I have a relationship with, not romantic or anything like that, but it's like a friendship. And as we were coming closer, it's really like within 24 hours of the event, suddenly it's like, hold on, what kind of event is this again? Are people going to be kissing? Are people going to be touching? And I'm like, maybe.
This came at you from a registered participant?
No, from the person who
co-facilitated.
From the person who owned the place where the event was going to be held, manager. The venue. Yeah. And so I'm like, well, people might, you know, like I know your rules. We have a long-standing relationship. I know I can't hold temples here, and I know I can't hold play spaces here. Like, I'm very clear on that. Like, we've actually had multiple conversations, which is why I haven't brought my stuff here. This event specifically is it's not that.
Sure.
And I know that because I know you. Like we're in
Yeah.
agreement. And then so it's like, why are you coming at me? You know, and it's like, of course it's not. And they were like, well, let's just make sure no PDA. And I'm like, PDA, like what if couples arrive and what I'm not navigating. And so that's kind of, and then it finally came out on the call. Well, like, you know, with Epstein, and I'm like, what is going on here? Like, it's like, okay, you don't want to be accused of raping someone in this event. And just because of a very like loose association, there's a fear there.
Yeah. Oh.
And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, that's where I'm like, okay, whatever mirrors you, I'm happy to handle that. And we did very, very well, I'd say. But it's like, okay, if you see a reflection and a proximity with your thoughts and beliefs and activities with what you're seeing in someone else, great. Let's look at that.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is a way that it can show up in our fields, because we're in the fields of sex, love, and relationships and intimacy. And it can get sticky for people to navigate that. And I'm so sorry that got projected upon you, especially with someone that, you know, you trusted and you had an established relationship. And it just shows you, it probably showed you where they're at in their own
I
journey.
kind of knew that. I knew where they were, which is why I had a very limited, you know, event.
Yeah. I have to admit that this was a fear that I was holding on to as a facilitator and hosting workshops and knowing what ISTA had gone through and, you know, finding venues. But it's different when you're hosting a 2-3 hour workshop versus a retreat, right? But at the same time, it's like, we have to be transparent and in a certain level of disclosure of what it is and what it isn't. But even in the distinction between what it is and what it isn't and what's possible, people like venue managers can get activated and uncomfortable. And then it's like we have to decipher and discern, well, then maybe this isn't the right space for me. And I just know in Chicago, where I'm hosting my urban intimacy workshops, I mean, it took me a long time to actually offer in-person offerings. You know, I've been a practitioner for 8 years, but I've only started doing workshops in the last year and a half. Yeah. And it was because of this piece of like, I was fearing the judgment of like what people would think of what it would be based on intimacy. I mean, even, I'll be honest, like I'm in a women's co-working space, beautiful space. It's very focused on spirituality, a lot of energy healers, you know, life coaches. And I hosted a workshop there called Connection. And I did energetically feel a lot of projections on it. And it was so G-rated. It was so like helping people cultivate intimacy with self so that they could feel safer with other, you know, using somatic practices. But I pulled the workshop, and I'm doing it because I didn't feel that the community was in support of it. You know, and it really hurt me. I'm being really it really hurts when it's femme-bodied communities that are rejecting this work. Because it's like
it's literally all for you.
Well, it's all for all of us, but when you think of women, and I know you work like with a lot of women as well, it's like we all have trauma. We all have experienced some form of sexual trauma, whether it was overt rape or whether it was non-consensual sex, or we were on alcohol or altered substances when we had sex, or it was simply being catcalled, or it was simply someone making I was having a conversation with a man at a bar last night, and even the conversation was about intimacy, because this is what I do for work. And it was like, he immediately was like, let's go in the elevator and make out. And I was just like, that's a form of a sexual violation, of a form of sexual harassment that I'm just like, I'm just not available for that, you know? Like, just because we're talking about it makes you think that I'm a yes. Like, so we've all experienced sexual trauma. Layla Martin says 100% of femme-bodied individuals have experienced some form of sexual trauma. And so this is why we do the work that we do, so that women can feel safe in their bodies again. To be open, to receive, to give and receive love.
And I say it's for them because even the work with men, obviously, like, it benefits, you know, working with men one-on-one. It's like their whole expansion and all that. But at the end of the day, I know for a lot of my clients that come, like they want to be better lovers, better communicators, better that for the women, or like everything that I do, it's like, it still goes back to women all the time. So it's like, even through working with men and all the things that I do with men, it's like, it's all for women.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And for us as women to really receive that.
Yeah.
And
like, it's all about
like,
you, baby.
The men are doing the work for us because they cherish us and they want to show up better for us. That's really beautiful.
Yeah.
What are you finding in your work with men, beyond that even? What are men struggling with right now, or what are they moving through with your clients?
Well, of course, there's all that piece, right? Like how am I a better lover, communicator, hands-on skills, all of that. And there's a whole like umbrella of my work where it's like men have so much pressure and standards, and it's only going up. We're only adding to the list of what they need to do better. And I feel like I specifically provide, this is going to sound so weird, but like a mother archetype for a lot of men. It can show up in different ways. I do dominatrix work.
I'm like, are you a dommy mommy?
A dommy mommy. But a lot of times it's a lot more subtle. Like a lot of times they don't really come to me specifically for that. But then we're in the experience and it's like, actually, I just need to be held like a baby, or I just need to be like, just told stop. Or it's just like a level of relaxation that I'm like, oh, okay, we're just doing nourishment here. Like, you just need to know that this is not a place of performance. Because even in the work, right, even like in sensual, like, oh, wait, am I supposed to be hard?
Yeah.
Am I supposed to be, performing even in my receiving? And it's like, no.
To help them to,
just to turn all that off and just be like, what if that's like, what if you have nothing to do at all? Nothing. What if you just held... And that's it. Like, so it's really, I think there's a big element of that, of like, we have a lot, this is going to sound whatever. It's going to sound whatever it sounds like. We live in a world with a lot of children and not a lot of mothers, not a lot of adults.
Yeah.
And I don't think that I know something or whatever, but I do feel like I have moved myself specifically, with the help of spirit and all that is, from maiden to mother energy. And that was a very specific call. And it was like, you were done with this maiden crap, like, yes, it was beautiful. I had fun. I was adventurous. It was like all the things I wanted. And I was very clear when it was done. And as I've moved into my mother energy, I've noticed people coming to me for nourishment, women, men and women, actually. Yeah. And I'm grateful to be that. And as I look around, I'm like, there's 80-year-old maidens still out there, because we live in a society that like the maiden is the be all, you know what I mean? It's like the main, it's like beautiful, young, free, like we've made that so women aren't able to sort of like let go of that in a way that's like, oh, and then there's this. And we haven't really identified like the version of mother that's like, oh, okay. I think some women are defining that for sure, especially those, I don't have actual children, like for my body, but it's being defined currently. And I'm so excited about that space. And I'm excited for like whenever it's an actual child through my body. But I don't think there's enough mother energy. And so then we're left with a lot of children that are still seeking nourishment, seeking connection, seeking validation, all of that. And it's basically the society we have today.
I love this. This is such a potent and profound transmission surrounding several things. There's so much I can say about this. Of course, yes, we're all divine children, and specifically how it's showing up in the men. And this is, again, we love our men. We're not, but I was just with a sister this morning and we were talking about how so many men are still in that little boy energy, seeking the frequency of the mother. And it's so inherent and it's such a, of course.
Can I pause right there? And why? because their mother wasn't a mother. The mother was still a maiden. So then what he did, potentially.
Yeah. I mean, I think it goes back even more to the primal, to the actual separation, right? Because we're all here for Eros Gamos. We're all here for this inner union, this fusion of Shakti Shiva, masculine, feminine, this balance within. And when you're born into a male body and you're conditioned to be masculine, to not cry, to suppress your emotions, to be strong, your connection to the feminine is exclusively dependent initially in your primitive years with your connection with your mother. And you're out of the womb, the cord is caught, and then that relationship with your primary caretaker and your mother in your first 7 years of life is essential. It's elemental. It's critical. And, whatever complexities happened there make it such that many men are stuck in that stage of being not just infants, but maybe toddlers, being between 1 and 7 for their whole lives because that wasn't nourishing enough. It's not that mom wasn't present. You're right. She was doing other things, taking care of herself. But to know that so many humans grow up with, and I can talk about myself. So I try to catch, like, I'm trying not to be preachy, but there are alcoholic mothers, there are single mothers trying to make it, working hard. There are, absent father. There's so many different dynamics that are going into a child not receiving that nourishment from the mother, but it's also the lack of connection with the mother, AKA Earth, AKA Source, right? So this is where it starts of like, if you're a man and, yes, do your therapy, heal your mommy wounds, but also like connect back to her, right? And this is what we're doing in our sessions inherently, because I'm in the same frequency where I know they're magnetized to the erotic. I know they're magnetized to the Shakti, this allure of like the sexual, sensual energy. And 99% of the time, what happens in the course of a session is the medicine they really need is Priestess Oracle. And then what they really need is mother, right? They all want to be held in love, by love, for love, in this tremendous nourishment of the mother. I'll hold you, I'll stroke your back, whatever it is. Not just because they didn't maybe receive that physical or emotional connection with their primary caretaker, but because we're so disconnected from source. And again, going back to Eros Gamos, like, we as women, we get to develop, most women get to develop all parts of ourselves, right? And we've really the last 20 years have developed our inner masculine. We're the boss babes. We've got systems, we've got structures. We can get paid as much as men. We can buy homes. We can, all the things. So we have developed our masculine, and we still inherently have our creativity and our flow and our all of that. But the men are just in their masculine. And so their only way, unless they're creatives and they kind of have tapped into some artistry, right? Which we love creatives.
Or they've done the whole work, I think in our field we know a bunch of
some men that have done that work to really honor their inner feminine and create spaciousness for her, so that they're not then projecting this need to be filled externally by a woman. That's why they want to be with us. They just want to feel that completion within. Yes. Tell me what's alive in your offerings these days. I know you're curating beautiful temples and I know we could go on and on, but
I'll share to me the most important thing that I feel like I'm doing. It's a container. I'm calling it Reverie, which is so interesting, that word. It's like a pleasant daydream. It's very interesting. Okay. It's a priestess immersion. It's a multi-day where women gather really to relax and nourish each other. Yes, because we need that. We just need to relax. When is it?
Can I come?
Yes. The next one's in like 2-3 weeks. Okay. And sisterhood is so important. That's a big theme for me right now. So important. And so we gather together, and then on the second night we welcome in men. So I'm calling it like a ceremonial priestess temple for men. So it's kind of like two offerings that are kind of overlapping.
Sure.
And I say that this is the most important work that I'm doing because I think like we've talked about so many things, and we've also said things that, you know, people are probably like, but I'm not in this, you know, like we said a lot of things that like I think people can argue with, and it's like, oh gosh, we just put so many things in boxes, and we can sit here and just be like, okay, well, the nuance of this and the nuance of that. And ultimately, for me, this container is like, okay, let's see what happens actually, and let's see where I am today in this moment. And so the container provides for women, like, can you rest and relax? First of all, just you yourself with just women. Let's start there. If the answer is no, like, let's start to look into that first and foremost. So we look into that. That's really the work. It's like, why can't we just rest and relax? Why can't we just do nothing? And so the work there is that.
I love this.
And then once we're there and we're happy and we're empowered and we're tapped into our intuition and we're like, wow, it's like, well, let me bring some men in. Because like what happens then, right? And that's what
what an experiment. What a like play lab. Yes.
Yeah. And so the men, like, why would they even come, right? The invitation is to just enter a feminine field, and the invitation is stillness and silence, and they cannot initiate is the biggest thing. So most temples, you know, it's like we're looking pretty and like hopefully someone comes, talks and invites and whatever. That I oversimplified. Of course, like there's other intentions depending on how you arrive and what you want out of it. You get what you want to get out of any temple. But here specifically, the intention is men will lean back and cannot initiate. They can't even, well, I have a lot of rules basically. Very little what they can do. They can sit and lay down. So they're actually invited into that, which I think is one of the most challenging practices. And as I've like onboarded men, I'm like, I'm not going to teach you anything. And I'm not going to like, the invitation is, can you relax?
In being a sacred witness.
Yes. And just, can you let go of expectation? Can you let go of the agenda? Can you let go, right? So that's it.
What so I rubbing my titties. Oh my god,
the nipple said yes.
So fucking juicy, yes.
And and are you willing to pay for that invitation? You know,
yes, 100%. I want to witness.
I mean, yes. And so those are the invitations, and now we bring the two together. And what I invite the women to stay in is wait to be moved, be in your pleasure. Where do you want to be in this space? And now men have arrived, but I have not told them that they will even receive touch. So that's not, you don't have to go into service. You don't have to go into entertainment. You don't have to go into performance. You can do nothing if you want. And so the invitation is like, wait to be moved. And be in your highest expression. And maybe that's rage. Maybe that's crying. Maybe that's a nap. What I found so far is it's always so yummy. And I'm so surprised by that because we talk about all the issues between men and women. Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, surely, like, I always thought like some woman is just going to start yelling at a man's face because they finally can't say anything back. Like, that's my thought. Oh. Right? Like, I don't know, because you can do it. Because I'm telling the women, you do whatever the fuck you want.
Whatever comes through you.
Whatever wants to come through you. Yeah. You can do that. Yeah. Permission, you know, I have some like, you know, agreements for the space. Sure. And the men invite us to stillness. So I always think like all of our stuff's going to come out for sure. And it's like, it does it.
Wow.
I mean, I'm still open to that because it's like, and every single time it's very different. Sometimes it has been a little more like aggressive, and other times it's been so soft. And so it always changes based on who arrives. But at the end, everyone has more information on their own personal relationship with themselves and with the others in the space. And also I have women who are, you know, don't identify as women, but they're, you know, yoni owners. And so like I've had different people of different flavors, and there's still stuff that comes up in this space.
100%.
So this to me is the most important work that I'm doing. I will do it no matter what. And I have found it's so interesting because my life is very easeful. More obstacles show up around this, even with people who are like, I'm planning to be there. And then something comes up last minute, they can't. And it's usually like last minute, some people can go. And it's like this really interesting, magical, shamanic little portal that's happening where it's always the perfect people, perfect number, perfect time, place. And it's like, I'm just like here, like, not like stewarding it is what I feel like I'm doing. Yeah.
Really honoring that. Thank you so much for being a steward and facilitating such an exquisite container, because these containers are needed to give people these opportunities to like try things out and get activated and see what comes up, and or be in the stillness and the solitude and be like, how can I be with myself in this and not having to give or having to receive or having to initiate. Oh, this sounds really juicy.
The invitation is
so juicy.
The invitation is stillness and silence on both ends.
Yeah.
And just coming back to yourself.
Yeah.
And what I'm finding is, wow, that's all we all wanted.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
It was so sweet to journey with you here today.
I'm glad this worked.
This impromptu moment is so juicy to me. And I'm so excited to come to Reverie. Tell us, how can folks find you if they want to journey with you deeper and learn more about your work?
So Mayra Leen, MAYRALEEN. You can literally Google it. I'm like the first full page of Google. Or you can do MayraLeen.com or at Mayra Leen on Instagram. And
And you work with women, men, couples.
Couples.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Love it. All right.
Fine.
Love you. Thank you.
Love you.
Yay.
Thank you.